To start us off with an attention-grabbing hot take that is sure to get some of you going in the comments, John Krasinski should not play Reed Richards in the MCU. Okay, now tell me why you disagree in the comments, but be quick about it because today's episode is going to be full of black sheep opinions as we dive back into the pre-MCU Marvel catalog and see what movies are worth revisiting and which ones we can leave dead and buried. And today, true believers, we are going to take a critical retrospective look at the film that is considered to be a mostly disappointing sequel, but has also garnered some level of respect from comic book lovers since its release in 2007.
Which is really pathetic when you think about it.
That's right, folks. Today we are going to watch Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Silver Surfer. Directed by Tim Story and of course starring a pre-Captain America Chris Evans as well as Johan Griffith, Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis, and Julian McMahon. And while some of you may still be heated about my opening statement, I assure you, this movie has nothing to do with that opinion. Or does it?
See, this proves exactly what I've been saying all along.
No, it really doesn't, but as always, the only thing that matters today is whether or not this movie holds up all these years later. And that, true believers, is what we are going to find out in today's episode of Marvel Revisited. You know what, I was not looking forward to watching this movie again, as last time I saw it, I wanted to make like Dr. Doom and lock myself in a giant shipping crate and be hidden away for the foreseeable future. But I may have changed my opinion on that after this most recent rewatch.
Look, don't tell Johnny. Don't tell Johnny what?
When the movie picks up, it quickly gets into the main storyline and doesn't waste any time catching us up with the Fantastic Four. Reed and Sue are getting married, and as usual, Reed seems more interested in his research than his relationship.
Yeah, Sue says I'm addicted to it.
Wonder why she'd say that.
Johnny and Ben are growing closer, but still holding on to that friendly rivalry that fans of the comics would hope for. The movie also cuts in some very effective establishing scenes of an incoming threat to planet Earth that we will soon come to know as the Silver Surfer. And also there's some threads for the return of Dr. Doom, who we know survived the last encounter with the squad. Now, personally, I think this is one of those rare occasions where the sequel is actually better than the original, and a big part of that is due to the core team's dynamic. When I consume any form of Fantastic Four media, there's a few non-negotiable items that I need to see included. One of those things is Reed Richards, who, despite his good intentions, is constantly placing his super family in the back seat while his love for the work rides in shotgun. But the other thing is seeing the rest of the team acting like a family.
What about having a normal life, a family?
Who says you have to be normal to have a family?
See, in the first film, I enjoyed the characters and the dynamic of the team overall, but in this movie, each character feels like a naturally evolved version of themselves, and I must admit, it works for me. Johnny and Ben feel like they've been living together for years because in this movie, they have. Anyone who's ever had a roommate for more than a couple years knows that while you may get on each other's nerves from time to time, you inevitably will grow closer to that person and maybe even care for them more than you did before.
You and me are gonna be spending a whole lot of time together, pal.
It's not just an annoying little brother trope played up for the sequel. It's complicated and plays the good with the bad, and it's great.
Well, you got me, pal.
Now, Reed and Sue's wedding day is finally approaching, and Reed has promised Sue that he would take a break from work and focus on the wedding, but we all know Reed.
We have to get through this quickly.
Oh, that's romantic.
Should I continue? Yes, please.
It's actually a good thing that he kept one eye on the work because when the incoming alien threat makes its way to Earth in the form of Silver Surfer, voiced here by Lawrence Fishburne, Reed is prepared and the team springs into action. The wedding gets pretty badly ruined though, and that's, sad.
But once we are married, everything will be back to normal.
We will never have normal lives as long as we do what we do.
Now, I'm really curious, for those of you that have seen this movie recently, what did you think about the Silver Surfer here? I honestly can say that I think Tim Story really understood the character. Every element from his chrome and comic accurate appearance to Lawrence Fishburne's deep and monotone voice acting to the way they introduce him is just perfect.
Oh, that is cool.
For For those of you that don't know, the Silver Surfer was first introduced in the Fantastic Four issue number 48 in the year 1966 and was created by comics legend Jack Kirby. His real name is Norrin Radd, and Rad he is. I'm not kidding, they could do this exact same thing in today's MCU and it would work for me just as well.
All that you know is at an end.
What do you mean by that?
The Silver Surfer's goal is simple. He's traveling through time and space using his board to send a signal to Galactus, who will then locate and eat the planet and everyone in it in order to survive. And why would the Silver Surfer do something like that? Well, we'll get into it. The first half of the movie is very entertaining, and I don't have a lot of criticism. The bachelor party scene with Johnny, Reed, and Ben is kinda stupid, but it's innocent enough.
It was nothing compared to what I did at my bachelorette party. Talk about wild.
And I love the added plotline of Johnny's molecules becoming unstable after encountering the Silver Surfer, causing him to switch powers with the team every time he touches them.
Reed, you better be able to fix this.
I'm right on it.
This isn't explained really, but in my opinion, it doesn't have to be. It's funny and it's fun, and it adds a layer to Johnny's character that will come in handy later. So up until this point, I've basically just talked about the things that I like about this movie. And the reason for that is because the first half is genuinely not bad. It's in the second half of the movie that all my negative comments come to the forefront.
What the hell was that?
We'll make adjustments. Next time we'll be ready.
See, the story of the movie isn't that complex. It mostly follows the traditional comic book movie franchise formula in that our heroes need to stop a world-ending event from happening while facing impossible odds. And that's all well and good, but where I see this all start to fall apart is when the movie reintroduces Victor Von Doom, played by Julian McMahon.
What's the matter? Afraid of ghosts?
Okay, so let's talk about what doesn't work for me. So Doom is alive and has found a way to track the Surfer. He kinda just walks up to him and vaguely pitches him the idea of a collab situation in which the two would work together to take over the world.
We could be unstoppable. Anything would be ours for the taking.
The Silver Surfer is not interested for even 1 second. He kinda just blasts Doom and surfs off. Doom then inexplicably gets his physical deformities reversed, and he's just back to being handsome, but still has his powers, and I hate that. I just want to know how that happened. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, but Kier, how are you okay with Johnny's power swapping thing not being explained, but when it's Doom, it's unacceptable? Well, listen, Johnny's arc in this film is that he's trying desperately to be taken seriously. This is proved by little things like him asking Reed to call him John instead of Johnny in an attempt to be seen as less childish.
John.
Huh?
Focus testing showed that Johnny skewed a little young.
But after he meets the Silver Surfer and gets the ability to swap powers with his teammates, he's deemed by Reed to be a flight risk for the crew and is kind of sidelined by the team. But there's a scene where Johnny tries to go after the Surfer and ends up getting knocked into Reed, who is stretching his limbs to save a Ferris wheel full of civilians, and it all culminates in Johnny almost killing everybody, including his sister Sue.
Stay back before you get somebody killed.
This further alienates Johnny from the family and thus adds some more depth to his character and development. But with Doom, he just gets hot again, and that's all. Nothing changes for him in any way, and the change doesn't serve the plot either. It's very annoying, and I'm tempted to say that they just didn't know what to do with the character. And also, after he gets his normal appearance back, he just strolls into the government and offers to help them save the world, and they're just gonna let him freely walk around as if he didn't almost destroy the entire city in the last movie. Like, because he doesn't look hideous anymore, he's just getting a pardon for his crimes. Get the f out of here.
I hate you. All of you.
The government forces Reed and team to work with Victor in order to track the Surfer and help take him down after they figure out that his surfboard is the source of his power. However, I do love the scene where Reed demands the military and Victor to show him and the team some respect, and he just kind of lists all the reasons why he's better than Victor. This is classic Reed Richards, and Johan Griffith truly shows that he deserves to play this character. Honestly, I think the casting is kind of perfect.
I'm one of the greatest minds of the 21st century. I'm engaged to the hottest girl on the planet.
And guess what? The team is able to capture the Silver Surfer. But then it all goes to shit once again, and we learn the Surfer's reasons for wanting to destroy the planet. So Norrin, or the Silver Surfer, reveals to Sue that he's rampaging across the cosmos and destroying planets because Galactus, who by the way is not really Galactus in this movie, made him a deal that if the Surfer helps him consume other planets, he won't eat the Surfer's home planet of Zenn-La and spare his people.
My service spares my world and the one I love.
This part isn't so bad, it's kind of understandable, but then he gives some whack lines about how he wants to save Earth now because Sue reminds him of his girlfriend back home on his planet. What?
You remind me of her.
So he'll destroy countless planets in order to save his girlfriend and people, but he meets one person on Earth that reminds him of his girlfriend, and all of a sudden he's fine with joining the Fantastic Four and breaking his agreement with Galactus? Like, homie, you realize if you don't succeed in killing Galactus, you just signed a death warrant for your entire planet because some sexy invisible lady was nice to you? Sick.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
So, with the Surfer now under captivity and the Fantastic Four also being detained by the government, Doom inevitably betrays the army and steals the surfboard to claim the ultimate power. And actually, I don't really know what his plan is at this point. I don't think the writers did either because it's never explained.
You have to give it up!
You know, I've never been the giving type, Creed.
Hold on!
But anyway, the team escapes with the Silver Surfer and chase down Dr. Doom, and you know what that means, baby. It's final battle time.
To quote a friend of mine, it's clobbering time.
So, let's recap. The Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer are working together to save the Earth from Galactus, a giant space cloud that consumes planets to survive. Johnny's molecules are still unstable, and every time he touches one of his team members, he swaps their powers with his, and Doom is inexplicably handsome again, but still wearing the metal suit anyway, and now in possession of the magic surfboard.
Nice.
After failing to subdue Victor, Johnny ends up group hugging his homies and taking all 4 of the team's powers at one time, and I kinda love it. He can stretch, he can flame on and fly, he can become invisible and use force fields, and he also has fists made of orange rock.
The Thing. Is this dork made of orange rock like the rest of his body?
It's a superhero secret.
The logic of how this happens doesn't make a lot of sense, but come on. Of course it doesn't. And so now Johnny's movie-long struggle to become a real hero and be taken seriously is laid on heavy throughout the whole film, and it pays off by having Johnny be the only one who can save the world. I love that.
Let's not make this about me.
Johnny takes down Doom and returns the Surfer to his board and gives the team back their powers. The Silver Surfer decides that if he flies into the mouth of Galactus, he can implode him from the inside, so basically he sacrifices himself to save Earth.
I will no longer serve. This is the end.
Do I like this ending? Not really. You have to remember that the Silver Surfer is doing all of this, as in sacrificing himself to save Earth, just because he thought Sue was fine based on a 3-minute encounter with her. But if we can overlook everything else in this movie, why not add that to the list?
What'd I miss?
In conclusion, the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer is a relatively inoffensive entry in the Marvel canon. I'd say it's better than movies like Daredevil and Elektra, and not as good as movies like Blade and the X-Men. And honestly, despite my beef with Tobey Maguire, this movie doesn't even come close to Spider-Man 2.
You're getting on my nerves.
I have a knack for that.
Not anymore.
But as always, I'm only one part of this conversation, and I genuinely want to know what you guys think of this film. And yes, I'm also curious to know who you would cast as the Fantastic Four in the upcoming MCU reboot. I would love to read your thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time on Marvel Revisited. Goodbye.